Letters of John Nelson Darby, Volume 2, Letter 538-212E, of 1031. p. 336. Dear C. McAdam, I told, if the assemblies were not separated which lay outside, it would take place of itself, and in a more disagreeable way. I have not doubted it, but he would not listen to it, and talked of less communion, which has nothing to do with it. I should certainly leave, all not actually within London to their own responsibility. The thing is a blunder in its present state. Croydon and Plumstead are not London, the unity of the assembly fictitious. It was all very well when they were young assemblies, and glad to get help from elder brethren, but this is no longer the case, and their own responsibility would be more in exercise. Nor would communion be the least hindered. Already they bring a note from some places. But within London the unity of the assembly ought to be preserved, or we are Congregationalists, which I assuredly am not the least disposed to be. May the gracious Lord guide you, and keep you all in peace as to it. The putting off, such as those I have mentioned would have been a more practical and evident step, the retaining them raise a question of principle or resistance to existing means of blessing. The door has opened at Boston, so that if it goes on I could hardly leave it for a while, chiefly of converted persons coming to a knowledge of salvation, and grace, and the Lord's coming. All is stirred up, and it is known that we look for a knowledge of our place in Christ, which is, I may say, nowhere possessed. The effect upon old Christians is curious to see. One loose brother got clear also. In New York we had a good many conversions. Here it is converted persons finding salvation, but 2 or 3 are looking out for a room, hoping to try and work in the gospel. The perfectionists say I want people to be more perfect than they do. I said, certainly I do. Their system denies, not willfully, the true Christian position, and thus lowers holy exercise. Its greatest evil is in connection with the Lord's temptation, and lust not being sin. I wrote to Drive W. as to the Moody question. We have only to leave it. God may arouse by it and convert souls, as he awakens Christians by P.S., who now says this better life is only going from Romans 7 to 6 and 8, which is just the truth, with a good deal of error into the bargain. What is needed is to carry the truth on to clearer ground without the error. As to stir, there is no mistake, God is working evidently, doubtless for the last days, for things are hastening on, we have only to hold steadily our path with increased devotedness. The truth comes clearer and stronger to me than ever I knew it. There are many such cases as W. speaks of. We have only to act on the steady principle of receiving all saints apart from evil they know of, or what is personally false to Christ. I think had we a good laborer there might be something of an open door at Dash, but we must leave the work in the hands of him whose it is. One feels it daily more. Revivals are on every side, but by thundering legal preaching, which I do not regret. Yours, dear, affectionately in the Lord. Boston, March, 1875. 52212E.